What's up, y'all? You are listening to For the Artist, a podcast brought to you by Creative M Projects. I'm your host, Melissa Sharee, and I am here with a special feature artist. But I just want to give a big shout out to my usual co-host, Eric Seats. Thoughts and prayers up to him. I got a call. He's not able to make it. Not sure what's going on, but we'll just keep him lifted. All right, I'm about to go in on this intro, y'all. So, Courtney Lindsay, also known as SUNWHOA. I like to say it like that. SUNWHOA Love, Black Samurai G. He is a servant of the Lord. He's a lyrical wordsmith. Oh, shoot. Now, everybody can't say that. He is a Southern California native. Okay. A musician. He found his voice through poetry and rap. He has a solo album. He's featured on several projects, including P4CM's Rhetoric, TBN's JUCETV, an upcoming pilot, countless features and live shows. We'll have to get into that and ask more questions. But, you know, he serves in Pasadena. He also has a heart for youth. I see him doing a lot of big things for youth. He can talk about that. He's a teacher and a mentor. And he's, you know, ever the dreamer. But he's not just a dreamer, he's a doer. And he cultivates what God has given him and what he's committed to. He has a Build Apparel line. If you're watching, we did not plan this, y'all, but this is what happens when you're of the same spirit. Great minds, right? So yes, y'all indeed. Give it up for SUNWHOA, aka Love. All right, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was an amazing intro. I felt that. I was like, she was picking apart my little pieces, putting them together. That was dope. Thank you.
Yeah, you got a lot of little pieces creating a bigger picture.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely it. It's funny, like God would put it on my heart to make hats and then to have me be a person who wears a lot of hats. So it feels like it's a lot of hats.
You know what? Since we're there, you might as well just tell us, you know, the background story behind the word build.
Okay.
I mean, just go ahead and go there.
For sure. So one day I was just, you know, I was doing a lot of shows and stuff like that, and I would sell my CDs. And at one of the shows, I started realizing, man, people don't even buy CDs no more. Like, it's so hard to get someone to purchase a CD when it's already on Apple Music, it's already on Spotify, it's already on Tidal, you know. And I was like, God, for real, I just need help to help pay my bills. You know, I just need help. And I was asleep, and I heard Build like real loud in my ear when I was asleep. Like it was like something that I audibly heard. And I got up and I started praying. And I heard him say, bold, unashamed, intentional, and love driven. Right? He said, bold, unashamed, intentional, love driven. I was like, whoa. And so from that day forward, it was kind of that set Build off. Like I wrote it, I got it on little beanies, like just real light work stuff. Like it wasn't any of this. I went to Lids, I bought beanies, and I got it at Lids, and I still have those beanies. But eventually, I was doing another show, and a friend of mine, Joe from Rock Boy Fresh, got up on stage and he was like, God is giving y'all stuff and you just sitting on it. He's like, God is giving you ideas. He's giving you dreams and concepts and you just letting it sit. And I was like, you know what? That is a fact. I have this whole little concept in my mind. I'm drawing designs and have it. I know it's from God. And then pretty much the next week, I went to my spot, picked up a bunch of hats, a bunch being like 36, you know, got those stitched. And then from there, just kept going. Now we have sweaters, hats, beanies, shirts, you know, all type of stuff. And it's been a lot lately to kind of manage with everything that's going on in my life. But that's something that is always going to be more than just a brand. It's always going to be part of my identity. Like who God called me to be, who God called us to be bold, unashamed, intentional, and love driven. So, yeah.
So how long would you say you've been doing rap music and entertainment? I mean, how many years has it
been? I mean, I grew up in entertainment, so I've always been around it. Like my dad is a keyboard player, my mom's a singer. So since I can remember, that's all I've seen them do is music and entertainment. So I've always been like in the studio playing around. Like I remember, that song, I wish, it's by Twister. And it's like, it's kind of blowing up now on Instagram and TikTok, but like it's a Twister song where he's like, I wish that I could get it. And people are using it as like a TikTok anyways.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm actually singing on that record when I was
What?
like 7 or something. And it's funny, like I wish, and I don't even, I definitely don't get no royalties. It was like a one-time payment, but I wish I was getting royalties. And then so I did that, like I did that record. I did like All I Gotta Say Is That They Don't Really Care About Us, like the Michael Jackson song.
Yeah.
I was on that song when I was little. So like I was into stuff, but I wasn't really taking it serious. Like I pretty much just found myself in rooms and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be cool. But I was really just about basketball and basketball, taekwondo, dancing. Like, but then I remember we were in like 10th grade, 9th grade, and some of my homies, we all wrote this song and we recorded on the tape recorder, and it was called Body Roll. And I was like, ladies, if you hear me, let your body roll, body roll, body roll, body roll, body roll, baby. It was like some R&B stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then my homies were rapping and I was singing. And then it kind of blew up, like around like our circle locally. Locally it blew up. People were like, that's a banger. Like I love that song. They would play it. So we actually went to the studio, recorded it. And so from then I was pretty much musically focused. So like from around like 9th, 10th grade, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just focus on my music. And I'm still do other things, but I really fell in love. But and then I'm sorry, story is so long, but I'm gonna finish it. Now we're here.
It's not
So
long at all.
so like so I was singing, and they would always try to put, like, it was a group called The Circuit, and it was my friends and really talented rappers, and it was a bunch of us. It was a kind of like Wu-Tang, so it was a lot of us who would just try to get on songs.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of like dwindled down to like 3 main ones. It was myself, my homeboy Marvel, and it's your boy Malloy. And so we all like basically tightened the group. It was 3 people, and that was The Circuit. But at that time, everybody was trying to get me to sing, 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 sing. And I was like, I don't always feel like singing. Like I'm not like Chris Brown. Like I don't want to be that. I don't want to be like the R&B dude. I never wanted. I didn't feel that in my heart all the time. Sometimes, but not all the time.
Uh-huh.
And so I wrote this poem about Black people, about Martin Luther King. I wrote this poem about like just Black history and Black pride and just Black enlightenment. I was probably like 11th grade at this point, 10th, 11th grade. And the poem was fire, in my opinion. And I was like, oh, snap. Like I have a love for writing. I have a love for expressing myself, and I have a love for rap, like through poetry. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew I loved rap, but I was like, oh snap, I could actually do this. So I started getting on songs. When they wanted me to be a singer, I started just writing verses, and I would just show up with the verse.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it was just a muscle. I just kept developing, practicing, getting better and better and better. And so just trying to develop all of the skills, poetry, raps, song. So
All of
that's
it.
how it happened. Yes, so it's a long story, but yeah.
First of all, it's not a long story. That's what we're here for. We want to hear all the stories and we
Oh,
want to
y'all want
hear
to hear?
all
Okay,
the
the
details,
details.
all the juiciness, because somebody's listening that's like trying to
Yeah,
figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
that's real.
So here's
Yeah.
my question, because you was like, I knew it was fire. I knew it was fire. You was
Mm-hmm.
in the 11th
Mm-hmm.
grade. There's still
Yeah.
some people today sitting on gifts and talents, and
Yeah.
they don't have that knowing that it's fire, but they might have
Mm-hmm.
fire. So how
Yeah.
how did you get to that place where you had the confidence to be like, nah, this is fire, I'm gonna go with this? How did you know?
There's a lot of different ways to go about that answer. One thing I can say though is I trusted my taste. I trusted that I knew what I liked. I knew what I felt good music was, or
Mm-hmm.
what good poetry was, or what good art was. And it doesn't mean that my taste is the right taste, but I knew what I liked. So if I wrote something that I knew I liked, then I knew it was fire. I don't care what anyone else literally has to say. To me, it's fire. And this is proof because I could listen to some stuff that I'm like, this is trash. And not to offend anyone, but I'm like, this is trash. And then next thing you know, it's a hit single. So obviously what might be fire to you might be trash to somebody else, and what might be trash to you might be fire to somebody else. So it really doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. It's just about what you feel about yourself. And then secondly, I would say um, God kind of gave me this, not kind of gave me this quote. I came across this quote, but I know it was from God. And it was like, the woods would be silent if the only birds that sang were the ones that sang the best, you know?
Mm.
So the woods would be completely silent if the only birds that sang were the ones that sang the best. And so when I read it, I was like, dang, that's crazy, because a lot of times we try to be so perfect. We want to be the best. We want to start off sprinting, you know? And I'm so much better now than I was then. It doesn't, like, I've grown so much, but at that time, in that season of my life, I knew it was fire. If I were to read it now and to look at it now, I'd be like, sometimes I go back and I'm like, I don't really like that, you know, it's kind of weird, it was kind of weak. but but in that season, I knew that I was developing. So it was like, I'm not gonna try to be perfect my first time out at bat. I just want to continue to create. I knew that I enjoyed it and I loved it. And more than anything, what I really mean by fire is I was a quiet kid. Like, I was a very like, to myself type kid, kind of sensitive. I wasn't really expressing myself like that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wrote that, it felt like for the first time I was authentically really getting a chance to express myself. And then it kind of opened up a door to like, oh, this is what authentic expression feels like.
Yeah.
So more than just the content being fire, the freedom was fire. It was like, oh yeah, I really enjoy being able to speak what I'm thinking,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that prior to music.
Yeah. So I'm curious about your actual writing process, because you have already talked about, all the different hats that you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, tell us about, do you write as the mood hits, or do you actually make time and schedule time with yourself to write? Like, what is it like for Sun? Whoa.
For me, it's changed. Like, is this mic? It's good, right? I'm just
Mm,
wondering because it feels like the mic is like. Can
it
you hear
w-
me? Okay.
it was good, but don't take it up like that. Bring it back where it was a little bit.
Oh, okay. so,
Yeah, it's good.
so, all right. So for me, I went through seasons. So I used to write in my notebook
Mhm.
all day. Like, I would write journal time, notebook time, writing time, rap time. And then we started writing in the studio. We used to write raps in the studio. But this album I did called Black Samurai Music, which is pretty much my first. It's I did my first solo project. It was a mixtape. My second solo project was an album. My third solo project was the most professional project, right? That I've had a chance to like release a full length project, and studio mixed, mastered, all of that type of stuff. It's called Black Samurai Music, and I still like it today. But that whole project I wrote, I wrote in no pages. I wrote everything while driving.
Mm.
So I really didn't write anything. So that kind of became my process. So when I do all my songs now, I pretty much just drive. I'll go. I know if I have a trip, if I'm going to LA, I live in Pasadena now. So if I'm going to like Long Beach, or if I'm going to the Valley, if I'm going somewhere, then I know that that's 45 minutes of
Mhm.
time. And so I put, or an hour of time. So I put my beat on and I just pretty much play the beat over and over and over again. And I don't write it down. I just write like keywords. Like, I'll write the end keywords in my phone.
Mhm.
So say for instance, so what that does for me is it makes it super authentic, because I'm not thinking about how it's gonna sound. I'm not thinking about what it looks like. I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about what my mind does naturally. Where my mind goes naturally, where my heart goes naturally, where my lyrics go naturally, what connections I make authentically. And that's my process right now. I don't usually sit down and write something recently on my birthday, November 24th, I did a project. I did 6 songs in 12 hours. We did a birthday project. We did 6 songs in 12 hours. My sister came over, my homie came over, and I did just 6 straight songs. I wrote them that night, recorded them that night, put it out that night, right? And it was called Birthday Gifts. So that was a cool little challenge because it made me sit down. I didn't get a chance to drive, like I had to sit down and write,
Yeah.
That was fun. I enjoyed it. And it was pretty freeing because I just wasn't thinking. I was like, I know I got to do a whole album. I'm going to do a whole mixtape in one night.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. So it's different. But that's usually if I want to do my best job, then I know I have to drive and think, drive and rap and just freestyle and see what happens naturally.
Drive and rap. That sounds like a project.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Okay, so
does.
I'm picking up on something that you have dropped a couple times. A word, freeing,
Uh-huh.
freeing.
Uh-huh.
Like you keep
Mm.
talking about your artistry, your creativity, what you do as being freeing. I mean, talk about that a little bit because I mean, how is it
Yeah.
that it's so freeing for you? And obviously that's important because you recognize it and you keep putting it out there.
Yeah. I mean, one thing about me is I'm gonna make music. I believe to the day that I die. As long as I can make music, I'm gonna be making music. So
Yeah.
that's for me. It's much more than just an ambition. It's much more than just uh aspirations and stuff like that. It's something that I like have to do.
Yeah.
Um, but I think partially because when I was in that rap group and I started rapping, I was still kind of wearing like an idea of myself that I wanted to portray. So like I would get on stage and I would do the things that I felt like I should be doing, like whether that be cussing, whether my content was talking about something that I didn't completely think out. It was something that was more so pushed upon me instead of me pushed out of me. So there was a lot of things, excuse me, during that time period. A lot of things during that time period that I didn't feel was authentically me. So I was kind of bound by it, like
Mm.
in some ways, like you're
Mm-hmm.
bound by your words. What you say about yourself means something.
Mm.
So I would say stuff and put out an image that necessarily wasn't necessarily me. So when I realized that, and I changed my name to SUNWHOA. At the time, it was Be East himself. I changed my name to SUNWHOA, and a lot of revelation happened. Really spiritually, a lot of revelation happened. Then immediately, I was like, I want to just be able to be myself. So I started kind of introducing God into my raps, and then I would only say stuff that I really meant. I would only say stuff that I really was thinking and really feeling and really thought. And
Mm-hmm.
then next thing you knew, I would get on the stage with my same homies and I would be completely liberated in the sense of like, this is who I am. I'm not trying to put on no fronts. I enjoy this thoroughly. I'm having a good time myself. And I would I would do this anyways. It wasn't as like burdensome to try to be something. It was I get an opportunity to be myself in front of all these people and being someone who I feel like is a introvert in a lot of ways, and people will probably be like, "You're not an introvert," but what what I think about when I hear what I've learned about what an introvert is someone who like recharges by themselves versus recharges with other people. Extroverts, they want to recharge with other people. If they're
Mm-hmm.
feeling down, they want to get around other people. Me, if I'm feeling a certain way, I don't want to be around other people. I want to be by myself.
Yep.
So by being on stage and being myself, it was like a lot of fun because I get to just kind of I have the microphones. So I don't have to talk to you. I could just be myself. And I don't mind talking to people, of course, but like it's just like I'm not concerned with the anything else. It's just like I'm about to just be myself. I have the microphone. It's my stage right now. So I'm gonna say if I want to talk about God, I'm gonna talk about God. If I want to, do what I
Mm-hmm.
want to do. And if you don't want to listen, you can walk away. But it's not a conversation in this moment. it sounds interesting, but it's funny. But it's a lot of truth in it. And then just the ability to express myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you Definitely. I mean, your motivation comes through in terms of like God being your your compass. I mean, your
Hmm.
legit guide, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but has that been also since you were young, or did you grow into that too?
Now I definitely grew into it. I wasn't that when I was younger. I was, a lot more, like I said, influenced by outside things. I've been arrested, 17. We were doing things that could have gotten us in real trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Just hanging out with people, doing things that could have got me in real trouble. And so and I wasn't really thinking about God at all. I had some instances where a lot of things shifted at a certain time in my life around like I got one of the things being I went to college, I went to Cal State Fullerton,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was gonna be a rapper by the time I was like, I'm gonna go to Cal State Fullerton. I'm not gonna really even graduate. I'm gonna be signed by the time it's time to graduate.
Uh-huh.
So that was like my mindset. That didn't happen. I was smoking and drinking and turning up and wasn't doing my homework. I was commuting back and forth. So like I would go to school and live my life and then go home and live my life, go to school and live my life, and then realize that I wasn't doing the homework. So um, I ended up getting on academic probation. I couldn't stay there anymore, couldn't afford to stay there anymore. So I got pretty much kicked out of Cal State Fullerton. So at that time, it was a very like turning time. I went home and I realized that I have to take responsibility for my future. And so I started like reading a lot of books. I was reading just a bunch of random books that were just around my house. I would just pick up books. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the books that I picked up, or that actually I think my mom gave it to me, was called The Shack. And they made it into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And and I read that book and I was like, damn, that's crazy. It just kind of gave me a different like understanding of who God might be. But I was reading the Quran at that time. I was, reading Buddhist books. I was reading everything. I was reading hard Christian books. I was reading anything I could find, really, except the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
because I had a interpretation of the Bible that was like, just being honest, like the white man's religion.
Mm-hmm.
So even though my family was probably my immediate like family was a little bit more liberal, but my grandpa was a bishop. So he was like devout. My grandma devout. Like my grandparents more like, in the word, or maybe not like maybe not all around the whole complete cipher, but like there was that legacy there, right,
Yeah.
of faith.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, my dad ended up going through some things. At the time, he was battling addiction, and he ended up playing at this church in Pasadena. And my current pastor, who was the pastor of the church he was playing keys at that time,
Mm-hmm.
prophesied over him that he would be set free and delivered from his addiction.
Mm-hmm.
So he would be in the church playing and high at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And she prophesied over him. And so basically he went through that battle towards liberation, like in his own addiction. And he was able to, you know, be drug free and set free. But what happened after that came like a somewhat of a mental challenge, like a mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And it really affected me because basically he went super spiritual, but spiritual to the point where it was like I'm about to start my own church. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do that. And I remember he baptized me in a bathtub, and it was like it was just a lot, you
Yeah.
know. But
Mm-hmm.
during that time, I know that God was really speaking to me also.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of things. It was just like, it's just that pressure, like pressure builds diamonds. And it was like a lot of pressure on me. But then I would go to church with him and be overtaken by like the Holy Spirit. Like I would just be in tears every day. Every time I went to church, I would sit in the front row. I wouldn't talk to anybody, but I'd be crying because I would think about what I just did the night before, or what I was doing the week before, or what I was doing that whole week. And I would just fall under complete conviction. And so eventually something happened where it just snapped. And it really did so many things. One thing, and just for the listeners to give you one thing, it was one thing that happened. I was writing in my journal, like, Lord, I believe, but give me a testimony so I could tell people about you. So this is when I started to really begin a relationship, and I was like really just focused and praying and reading and really focused. And so I said, Lord, I believe, but I want to give people a testimony. And so I was driving one day on the 10 freeway, and something got stuck in my tire, and it threw me back into the freeway, and I ran into an 18-wheeler with my car.
Ooh.
I didn't have a seatbelt on, nothing. I had a bottle of
What?
tequila in my trunk. Yeah. And
Oh
so,
wow.
and my whole car was completely totaled. Whole car was totaled. And I didn't have a scratch on me. So it was just like, as soon as it happened, and I had complete peace. Like, not only did I not have a scratch, I didn't have neck aches, I didn't have shoulder aches, I didn't have anything. Like, it felt like I didn't get in an accident, but my car was totaled. My door
Mm-hmm.
was almost like ripped off, my windows shattered, my back window, everything was messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like God had protected me. And I asked for a testimony. So I was like, okay, I know you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening, I know you're watching. If you're watching, I know you hear me, you answer my prayers. So it's just like, so it was a lot. It's been a long journey. It's been a journey of time and whatever, just ups and downs. But at the same time, I have no doubt to where it all comes from, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care about saying where it comes from.
Yeah. It's been a long
Yeah,
journey and you still ain't done.
exactly.
You know what I
I'm really
mean?
excited for what's next. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but look at how
Yeah.
resourceful you are too. I mean, so you're doing your artist thing and
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking on your feet in terms of people don't buy music anymore and then you start this apparel line. I
Yeah,
mean, that it takes that as a musician now, right? To
for
be able
sure.
to think out of the box because music isn't like it used to be,
Mm-mm. Yeah.
in terms of the way
Yeah.
people operate.
Yeah. There is nothing like what it was. My first album, I probably sold 1,000, like, and this was, a big deal. 1,000 records, from like
Yeah.
early on. I sold from the trunk, from shows, and this was before Spotify and all of that was really big. People were buying music on Apple Music. People were buying music. I mean, not Apple Music, on the iTunes store. Like, people were buying music on Amazon and CD Baby. Like, it was a common thing to buy music. It was good. Everything was good. And then everything shifted. But, you know, like you said, you got to adjust and adapt. And now streams is the new thing. And for some people, streams, like, yes, I love it. It's an adjustment though.
Well, I'm like at this point, I'm like if you're trying to get into music to make money,
Yeah,
you getting into music for the wrong reason because
for
music
sure.
is not really a money maker. The motivation has to be definitely beyond music in order to sustain you
Yeah,
because it just won't happen.
yeah,
It's very
yeah.
oh I don't say it won't, but it's very rare. It's a very small number of people that are gonna actually
Of
find
course.
their place in that lane.
Yeah, and it is that, like Nipsey. I think he sold his album for, I mean, his mixtape for, I think it was 1,000. I don't remember how much. It was a
It
hundred
was something
dollars.
crazy like that. I feel like it was more than 100.
Yeah,
I feel like it was 1,000. I feel like you right the first time.
yeah. So he selling, but it is that. It's like, you don't need a lot of people to help sustain something. You know, you just need a few folk, like a few people who really rock with you,
Mhm.
and a few people who will really support you. So um, it's definitely possible to have like a living through music, but it's not the same industry that a lot of us grew up on or thinking that it was gonna be, you know.
Mhm. So you know that you just cannot live without doing music in some way. But what is your vision now in terms of what do you see yourself doing or aspiring to as you move through the rest of your journey?
Well, I just started a business. It's called Shine Like Whoa. Um, and so it's music, film, and education. Those are like the three pillars of the business. And
Okay.
so, like you said, being resourceful, I was paying people for my music videos and paying people for this and that. I was like, man, I'm about to learn how to do this. So bought a camera, started doing my own stuff, started doing my music videos, and doing music videos for other people, and you know, growing in that area, growing in my editing skills and my directing and all of that producing skills. So I mean, even learning how to make beats, like I was, so I've been practicing my beats and producing, and now I have a few songs that I've released that I've produced, and a few songs that I produced that ended up in like some local movies and some like independent films and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. But music, film, and education, shine like whoa. That pretty much says it. I just want to shine like whoa in all those areas and just reach as many people as I can for the glory of God, really, and for the this fulfilling the stuff that's on my heart. It's not. I just love to do it. So like the education piece, I started this project and this persona called Professor Woe,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've been teaching for the last 3 years. I've been working with kids for like the last 10 years, but in the classroom teaching for the last 3 years, and I would write raps for my kids, my students. So like I wrote a rap like. I'm drawing a blank. Like a verb is an action word, like rappers sing. A noun is a person, a place, or a thing. Adjectives are used to describe a noun, like beautiful, intelligent, black, and brown. Wow, wow, whoa, whoa, oops, oh my. Interjections are words of surprise. A
Yeah.
pronoun is a noun, but basic. He, she, him, her, or they are replacements. So it goes through the 8 parts of speech. And
Yes.
then so I would use it for my kids, use it for my students, my scholars, and then when quarantine hit, I realized I need to get this to as many people as I can. I need to, because right now they're not learning, they're not in school, they're not being taught consistently.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a major learning gap, so I need to get this to as many people as I can. Um, so yeah, those are some of the things that I want to continue to pursue. I'm on the verge of finishing my master's program. So once that is done, I'll have a master's in education, and I want to just continue to make music, make films, and educate people. And sometimes they'll be integrated. Sometimes it'll be all three at one time. And then
Mm-hmm.
other times it'll be just music, just film, just education, or two at blending. So,
Yeah.
but those are the 3 pillars that I'm gonna continue to pursue.
Shine like well.
Yep.
There's so many things that are inspiring to me about the things that you've talked about since we've been on. I mean, one is the fact that like you don't settle for the things that just come naturally to you. I mean, you naturally can sing and write rhymes and I mean stuff. I mean, it just comes, right? But you
Yeah.
don't settle for just that. Like you continue to like pursue other things and basically expand and enlarge your gift, and that's inspiring to me. I love that. And the
Thank you.
other beautiful thing that was coming across to me is like, you were placed in an environment from a very young age. It's like, when you plant something, you put a seed, right, and it goes down in the soil.
Yeah.
It's like the soil
Yeah.
that surrounded you. You were immersed in like music and like your
For
family and the
sure.
situation and the environment, right? But
Yeah.
as you grew, there are different things that happened or came along. You could have chose to go another
Yeah.
way, right? But you
Mm-hmm.
didn't.
Yeah.
Your environment changed, and I feel like you also created
Mm-hmm.
environments that worked well to help you develop and grow. So
That's true.
it's beautiful and it's inspiring to me. And I just really, I love what you're doing. I think I've seen that professor persona. You
Yeah.
put up a video, I think, on IG.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
wear
So
like
I've been
glasses
pushing,
or something. Is it like animated? I'm
Yes, a
like seeing
monocle. Yes. Uh-huh.
it's dope. It's super fly.
Yeah.
Like that should be picked up
Thank you.
by a major network. I'm not kidding.
I
Like,
appreciate it. That's the goal, and I think it could. I know it could. I
yeah,
know it could. It's
you need to
just
pitch that to somebody.
I know
Cause
I need a PR campaign. That's what I
yeah,
need.
cause when I was young, you know how they had the Saturday commercials and they had the
Yeah.
little I'm losing my words right
Capitol
now,
Hill. Yeah.
but like we did a
Schoolhouse
campaign,
Rock.
Saturday Rock, Schoolhouse Rock. It's
Yeah.
like, you should have something like that with that professor dude that's coming on
Yeah.
You know, they
Yeah.
need to bring back the glory days of. Do they still play
Yeah.
cartoons? Because I don't
You
even
know,
know. I don't watch
we were
TV.
just talking. I was just on something. They were talking about Saturday morning cartoons. I can't remember what I was watching, but they were just talking about that, and they don't really have Saturday morning
Yeah,
cartoons.
they're missing out. Like our kids are missing something. We need that back. It was like we
They have
couldn't watch
YouTube.
cartoons until we finished our Saturday chores. So we be trying to hurry
Facts.
up and clean and do
Finish
our little
early.
chores so we can turn the TV
Yep.
on. Otherwise, we miss it.
Get some Batman and watch something. It's
Superman,
crazy. Yeah.
Garfield, and Friends.
It was good times. And I think it was now it's like that oversaturation. You can watch whatever you want to watch at any time. It's a lot. It's
Yeah,
a lot. So,
it is a lot. It is a
but I
lot.
appreciate it. I think what you said, I think you said I was listening, I forgot you start talking about Saturday morning cartoons. I started thinking about X-Men. I'm like, what was I just thinking about?
Yeah, I was talking about the beautiful thing about
It'll
your
come
story
back.
environments, and then I was talking
Oh,
about
oh,
your
that's what it
inspiration that
was.
you don't settle for the things that come naturally to you.
That's what it was. So thank you. So it's funny because being a musician or an artist or whatever was one of the scariest things that I probably could have done because my mom obviously is, like I said, a singer. My little sister is a amazing singer and like gifted artist, and she's in the group and they're doing amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Have a single out now. Um, and my dad is a musician who could play drums, he could play guitar, he could play keys, he could pretty much do whatever he wants to do, right? Musically, like really there musically, read notes, write music, read music, all of that,
Yeah.
virtuoso. And so for me, to come in and to sing, kind of like I think I could sing, but I didn't think I could like blow. Like I wasn't Luther, I wasn't, I didn't have that voice in my mind. And then to rap, and a lot of people look at rap as something that's a secondhand skill. Like they don't really respect rap a lot of the times. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times rappers, when you say, especially in the musical world, and you get around a lot of like drummers and guitar players and singers and bass players and all these musicians, and everybody's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you play? I'm like, I rap. And then, there's a subtle like, oh, that's cool. Oh, okay, cool. Everybody raps. So it was interesting for me because um, I really did kind of like find my own voice in that space, which was difficult for a long time. Now I enjoy it because the more you develop something, the more you start to realize that it is unique. It's
Mm-hmm.
just so you start to really develop a uniqueness about anything that you do. And I would make beats and I'll play it for my dad or play it for my mom, and they would just eat it alive, like this off key, this wrong, this da, da, da. I'm like and I would be so heartbroken. Like the feedback would just kill my dreams, but I kept going, and now I play some stuff for them, and they're like, oh, I like that. You know, now they hear
Mm-hmm.
I produced the whole Professor Woe album, the Professor Woe album.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I produced it from top to bottom, every song on there, and and they like it. So I'm honored that they like it. I'm
Yes.
so glad I didn't quit. So
I'm so
yeah,
glad you didn't quit too, or we wouldn't be talking right now.
thank you. Absolutely. And I'm glad you didn't quit too, because like you said, we wouldn't be talking right now. It's like
But I
it's
there I can feel you on the there does need to be much more respect for people that rap and can do. I did one
right.
rap song that I recorded, and you know what?
Uh-huh.
I did all right.
It did all right.
I
That's
did all
good.
right. But
It's
yeah,
a
it's not
start.
an easy thing. You got to remember all them words.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot to remember when you think about it.
Yeah. For
Mm-mm.
sure.
That's why I like
It's
gospel.
a
I can
lot.
hum and moan.
Yep. And you just anything gospel is beautiful because it's really just about the heart. Feel me? You can sound bad. And it's just like if you're doing if you're doing it for the Lord, then hey, go
I don't
ahead.
know though.
Sing your
It
song.
does say that you're supposed to. What is it? There's that scripture about
A joyful
using your
noise.
instrument. No, and using your instrument with excellence. There's something where it's like,
No,
no, don't
it's
be out
true.
there
It's true.
singing like
It's
you need
true.
to sound right.
But if you're terrible and you singing for God, then I won't stop you.
Right. Everybody's
That
like,
doesn't
go ahead on, go
that
ahead on.
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Do your best, baby. But but that's what people they definitely have given that's somewhat given gospel a bad name though for sure. Like especially Christian rap, Christian hip hop. They don't a lot of times they don't want to hear it because they're like, oh, that's trash. Christian rap is garbage, and they just it's been associated with so many bad things. But it's cool.
You know what? That's a whole nother conversation. Because then when we
Yeah,
get
that's
into
an
the
hour
production,
conversation.
we get into the
Yeah,
production of music for,
yeah,
Christian versus secular. It's like, why can't we have the same kind of production?
yeah,
We'd have hits on the radio,
yeah. I
on
think so.
on mainstream radio, if we could get the same
Yeah,
type of. Anyway, like I said, that's a whole
I'm
nother
curious
conversation.
though.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we could. It's just it's like you said, that is a little. That's a week conversation right there. A whole weeks worth of time. But
I might have to do a
yeah,
series on gospel music or something.
let's do it,
I'll bring you back on. I'll bring you back on.
please. I'm gonna bust
uh,
every myth that gospel
Bust
rap
them
is
all,
trash.
bust them all. All right. Well, listen, I'm not gonna have you on here for 2 hours. You're gonna be like, I'm not coming back on, Melissa. You did not tell me that it would take this amount of time.
I mean, I'm surprised. I looked at the clock. I'm like, dang, that was uh, a long time in a short amount of field. But
In a short
yeah,
amount of field. Okay, but before we leave, you
yeah,
do have to tell everybody how they can reach you, how
uh-huh.
they can follow you, what's coming next, like all that good stuff. Now's the time to do that.
Okay, cool. So it's real simple. My name's Sunwhoa, SUNWHOA space love. So Sunwhoa, one word, space love. Um, and that's my name. So if you Google that, everything will pop up. Sunwholove.com, or you can put sunwhoa.com. You can do hashtag Sunwhoa, I'll pop up. You can do Instagram Sunwhoa Love, Twitter Sunwhoa Love, Facebook Sunwhoa Love. So I'm all over the place. But once you go there, you'll come across Professor Woe, come across Woe Sun Snaps with a film, and the movies are being made. Educational professorwoe.com. There's a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, Instagram is probably the best way to go. I'm on Instagram the most. Sunwhoa Love is the Instagram handle. And I have a lot of music on the way. I just recently had my computer crash
What?
4 days ago.
Mm.
So it's in the shop right now, and I'm heartbroken because I lost a lot of music. So for all the artists out there, I have a lot of external hard drives that I use, but I didn't do Time Machine on my computer, so I lost a lot of beats and a lot of like unfinished songs and stuff
Mm.
like that I just believe is gonna come out better next time than the first time. So I'm not really tripping, but at the same time, it definitely is like, ah man, that's a little unfortunate. So, you know, a lot of stuff is coming out though. And I have a single out now called Wiggle Dance, another one called
That's cute.
yeah, Wiggle Dance. If you haven't heard Wiggle Dance, it's like a song I wrote at the beginning of quarantine for my students, and they were really struggling. So it's like, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great. I brush my teeth and wash my face. Oh, I'm gonna shake the sleep off and do my wiggle dance. Oh, I'm gonna shake the sleep off and do my wiggle dance. And so it's like a really uplifting morning song. People say it's the new Sunday anthem. So
Shoot, I
hey, if
need
people
that
say it, it
myself. Some
must be true.
adults need that
For sure.
from
Go listen to it.
quarantine.
It's on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. It's called The Wiggle Dance.
Okay,
Or
the
it's
wiggle
just
dance.
Wiggle Dance. Wiggle Dance. But it's by Sunwhoa Love.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, I'm honored. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Yes.
this amazing conversation and letting me ramble for a little bit and
Thank
get
you
some
for
stuff off my
coming. You did
chest.
not ramble. You did not ramble. Hey, but I got one quick story because you know how you lost,
Huh.
you think you lost all that stuff on the computer?
Uh-huh.
Joyce Meyer tells a story about, she writes
Uh.
books. She wrote the
Mm-hmm.
whole book, labored over the
Mm.
whole book,
Mm-hmm.
and something happened and the whole thing got deleted, like when she
Wow.
was just about to finish it.
Wow.
And don't have me retelling the story wrong, but basically what I got from it, if I remember
Uh-huh.
correctly, is she was like almost about to get real salty and be like, "Oh, but it came out better, and she did finish the book.
Uh-huh.
And for whatever reason, she
Yeah.
had to go through that. So,
Uh.
keep your head up
Yeah.
because
That's how I'm
good
looking
stuff is
at it.
coming. Yeah,
Thank you.
you gonna
Thank
get
you.
that
That's
back.
how I'm
You
looking
gonna
at
get
it.
that back 100-fold.
Yeah,
Where
I
it was
believe it. I
70, now
feel
you're
like
about
the
to get
next
100.
the next beats are gonna be even crazier. But there were some songs on there that at least I bounced some of the songs, so I
Uh-huh.
know like I have a reference to what they sound like. But I'm gonna
See?
just see what's next. You know,
Yeah. But that's a good
yeah.
lesson. I'm glad you brought that up because somebody listening is going to be
Somebody need to
saving
hear
their
it.
stuff or making sure they're
And
bouncing it and
please.
all
And
that.
you know what's funny? Like, y'all think I'm playing. I must have thought 100 times, I need to do a time machine. I need to time machine
Mm,
this. I need to save all of this. I need to save all of this. So when you have those thoughts and when you have that like inclination to just do something, just do it. That's God.
yeah.
That's God trying to
That's
warn
that
you. He's
still
trying to tell
small
you.
voice. You got to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, nah, I'm cool. It's not gonna crash. It's a Mac. Nah, it's not gonna crash. And then sure enough, whole thing,
Oh,
everything.
shoot.
So it's cool though.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. As we get ready to wrap, yeah, I listened to something real quick though that told me that saying y'all is not personal. Well, you know what? I say y'all and it is personal. So y'all, you have
Me
been
too. Yeah.
listening.
All right, y'all.
You've been listening to For the Artist, a podcast brought to you by Creative and Projects. I've been your host, Melissa Sharee. I've been here with man, the one and only. There's none other like him, son. Whoa!
Woo!
So y'all better check
Thank
out
you.
his
Thank you.
stuff
Thank you.
because he's got some really good stuff brewing. And just as a reminder, Creative and Projects is a nonprofit organization. So if you guys ever feel led and hear that still small voice to sow a seed and give a donation, we have artists that can, benefit from you making one. So we'll see y'all next Thursday. And until then, keep creating from the inside out. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.